really, really bad shape. I know Stephanie was here. Jonathan was here pretty much almost from the very beginning when we were worried about keeping the lights on and catching up with years of pension payments, looking at, but Newcastle was the single most reliant city in the state on the Act 47 powers, the tax powers, just to pay its bills. And so in 16 years, the city has come a long, long way, and now is now at the end of the process. By law, there's only two paths for the city to take. It can go into receivership. There's only one city in receivership in Pennsylvania, and that's not going to happen, so we don't need to talk a whole lot about that, or you can get out successfully. Our job as Act 47 coordinator is to evaluate your financial progress relative to 4 criteria in the law. We handed out a, believe it or not, for us, a short report. We'll have a longer one that we will file with the state later this month, which goes through each of those 4 criteria. To sum it up, because I do want to try and keep this under 5 minutes, and I've probably already used 2.5. Basically, the state wants to make sure that when you get out, you're going to pay your debt. You're not going to have any legal claims that are going to sink you. You're going to make sure you balance your budget, and you're going to make sure you can pay your pensions and your employees. You have done all of those things over the years. There are challenges for Newcastle. You have had deficits. We should be real about that. You have a tax base here that's very flat in terms of the real estate, and I know the code folks and others have worked very hard on that. You can duplicate Tim Fulkerson and get a bunch more apartments downtown. Maybe that helps a little bit. But you have a very flat tax rate. What you have done to manage against that has largely happened inside this room by negotiating really good contracts. And I want to, I've done it privately and in a smaller group, and I just want to applaud again here the work that Chris Fry and Stephanie Dean and Ted Sad have done on your labor contracts. They position you, they put you in a better position than the other Act 47 communities that I have seen in that specific area, and I was the coordinator for Reading and for Pittsburgh before this. So you've got good contracts that extend out a few years. Your biggest challenge is going to be in terms of capital. In the last few years, Act 47 has provided the revenue to pave streets, to fix up things in Cascade Park. Unfortunately, when we leave, the taxing power goes with it, but you do have some options. Home Rule gives you some options and some tools to make sure you can continue to pave roads, because while we've been mostly focused on financial stability, it's financial stability to get you to a means. It's not just to have a really big cool number in your bank account or have an audit that makes Stephanie and me smile. It's to have the capacity and the financial wherewithal to pave streets, to take down buildings when you need to pay your employees, and to keep your taxes at a reasonable level. I'm going to keep my comments short. Again, the 4 points as far as what the law requires and why we think you meet those points are in this brief report. Our next step is to file a full report with the state, which we expect to do in a couple of weeks. And then the state would come here, and Terry Kumpel from DCED is here, I think you know Terry well, would come here and hold a hearing. Don't get your hopes up for excitement. Pittsburgh had 0 people and Reading had 1. See if you can break those attendance records. But it is perfunctory. They basically want to make sure that if there is an opposing viewpoint to you getting out of Act 47, that they hear that person, and then assuming there is none, that would overturn the evidence that we have created. Hopefully the city would be out of oversight after 16 years sometime in December, and that you would go into the new year a newly released, non-financially distressed community. I think this may be the last time I get a chance to address this body, and so I'll keep it short, but I just wanted to say to all of you, and a bunch of you behind me, Fulkerson, and recognize Anthony from the Codes Department, I just want to say thank you for the chance to work with you these 16 years. We've had a chance to do a lot together. This is a great community. You have a great community, a great place to raise families, and a great place to raise your kids. It's been an honor to serve with you. Thank you for that. We're not quite done yet, but we're close. And for all of the hard decisions, all of the painful situations all the time, Tim Fulkerson and I have yelled at each other about the commuter tax or whatever else it was we shouted at each other about. You've come out of this on the other side. And if you're just hearing about this for the first time, you're like, wait, what was this whole Act 47 thing? Get Stephanie to take you out for dinner, and she can tell you lots and lots of stories. I'll take any questions if there are any, but if not, that's my comments.